This is what I made as a personal chef in Beverly Hills. First thing I jumped on was boiling these chickpeas, also known as garbanzo beans. In case you didn't know, they are just different names for the same thing. Boiled with salt and baking soda, which helps chickpeas really break down quickly and get super soft. The key to getting a super smooth hummus is making sure that your chickpeas are borderline overcooked. I marinated some chicken breast with this shawarma spice that contains coriander seeds, cumin, paprika, turmeric. Then I added a bit of salt, olive oil, and more fresh garlic. My clients have recently hired another private chef to work the weekends and on the days that I'm not there, and they have been enjoying using the pickled red onions that I make, so I made a large batch for us to share. I don't really use an exact measurement for this when I make it at home. In a pot, I combine red wine vinegar, sugar, dried oregano, and just a little bit of salt. Depending on how intense the vinegar is, I will sometimes add a bit of water, but I personally like a very acidic, punchy pickled red onion. And as you know, my client likes them a bit on the sweeter side, so I do add a decent amount of sugar for these. You can play around with the measurements to find out exactly how you like yours. If you're going to be using them in a lot of different dishes in different ways, it's best to keep them simple so you won't have any clashing flavors later on. Just use them to add some sweetness and acidity to whatever you're eating. I strain them while they're still hot over the onions to remove the dried herbs and let that sit at room temperature until they cool. Then they're good for weeks in the refrigerator, but they probably won't last that long. Then I thinly sliced cucumbers and heirloom tomatoes, seasoned them with a bit of salt, and set those aside. I had a little bit of feta left over from a prior dinner, so I blitzed them up with a bit of yogurt, lemon juice, olive oil, honey, dill, parsley, and mint. This is going to be the sauce for our wrap. I had a bit of the Japanese white sweet potatoes that I froze, so I tossed those in olive oil, laid out on a sheet pan with salt, and into the oven to roast. A few hours have gone by since I started the chickpeas, and they're extremely soft. I run hot water over them and drain a few times to get rid of those pesky little bean skins. Then put them in a food processor to turn into hummus. I add in tahini, olive oil, grated garlic, a ton of lemon juice, and salt. Nice and simple. If your hummus is chunky, I don't want it. Your hummus should be smooth and silky. It's almost time to serve, so I grill the marinated chicken to get them nice and smoky and start to arrange. She wanted a lettuce wrap version, so I got iceberg lettuce, added the heirloom tomato, avocado slices, cucumber, pickled red onions, the hummus, cubed chicken, and the herb feta yogurt sauce. I'll be honest, this was my first time trying to make a complete iceberg lettuce wrap, and it was harder than I thought. I definitely did not use enough lettuce, but it looked and tasted good. I definitely needed to use double the lettuce so that it would have a bit more structural integrity. And for him, he wanted a wrap but less carbs, but all I could find were these almond flour tortillas. And none of the really large ones, so they were definitely closer to a taco than a wrap. But same ingredients: hummus, avocado, heirloom tomato, cucumber, pickled red onions, chopped chicken, and the feta yogurt. 2 for him with those sweet potato fries. They really loved the flavors, but they did say it was a bit messy to eat. I'll just have to make sure it's better next time.